I have had 2 interactions with Francis Ngannou, neither pleasant. One of them that involved security. So those things are difficult to get around. So I will just disclose a biasness to you. With that said, a man's commitment and body of work deserves to be recognized, and it deserves to be recognized accurately. That is disgusting what they just did to him. And anybody would have been wise to predict that was going to happen to him. There was no chance that boxing was going to allow him to come in and get that win if it went to a decision. One of the things that was most disappointing for me was that Tyson Fury didn't call that out. Tyson Fury is notoriously a straight guy. Now, he's also never been in this position before. There's never been anybody that beat him up that won the fight and lost the decision. He's never been put in that spot. His character has never been tested in that specific level, and he's a competitor. And I'm just sharing for you, I thought that he might say and just come out and correct it. I'm not positive that I would judge Tyson Fury and his character for not doing that. I think he's a very straight guy. I mean, let me just take you back 2 weeks ago. Tyson and Tyson's father said openly into the press they would have had no qualms. That is a quote, not a word I use because I'm a cool guy, but I'll quote them. They would have had no qualms had KSI been given the victory over little brother Will Fury. So I bring that to you just in regards, I think they would have been straight. Listen, I'm not sure Tyson had his wits about him in that interview. You know, he was humbled. That was clear, but I'm not positive that he has a full recollection of what was going on. And I say that for one, maybe to cover for Tyson, but two, to also tell any of you that didn't see the fight a lot about what happened in the fight. Francis knocked the hell out of him. I mean, this is a heartbreaking thing for me. And not because of whatever weirdness I got going with Francis. It's a heartbreaking thing for me because my entire life I have respected boxing. And to find out that boxing is fake, I don't mean that the decision was corrupted. You cannot be a real sport. You cannot, by any means, be a real sport. This is the second time I've seen the best in the world in boxing, the absolute best in their prime in boxing, get beaten up by a guy with zero experience. One of them was a drunk cokehead and still beat the hell out of the greatest boxer that never lost before or after. And then you get a gentleman who's at least 37 years old. He's never done the sport. He trains full-time in an MMA gym. He brings in a coach, whether it was for a publicity stunt or not, but he's brought in a coach who's never coached anybody. I mean, right, you want to talk about Francis has no experience. Mike Tyson's got no experience in coaching people. That's a disrespectful thing anyway. He got Nick Sick, he got Dewey Cooper, he had great people around him. I'm just sharing with you. He's at least 37 years old with absolutely no experience, gets put in a 10-round environment. Like, it doesn't really matter how good you are. It doesn't come down to who the better boxer is. If you're out there for 30 minutes, that is a remarkable ask of anybody. Boxing will prevent you from doing that. You will go through the amateurs where you will go for years of 3 rounds. You will come into the pros, one of the top guys in the world, and you'll go 6 rounds. Andre Ward came out to Portland, Oregon. I watched him do it, and this is after he's an Olympic champion, and he was scheduled for a 4-round fight. I mean, just to share with you, like, this was nothing about just who was going to be a better boxer. Everything in the world is stacked against Francis. You can't possibly go out there and fight for 30 minutes. That is the lactic acid and endurance that you must build up over the course of a lifetime. Then you put in the factor, no experience, trains at an MMA gym, at least 37 years old. Oh, by the way, he just came off of an injury. I mean, one of the announcers even tried to say, I mean, boxing announcers are as bad as the boxing judges. They truly are. They are truly so bad. One of the announcers goes, "You haven't been in the ring for 674 days, and it looks like you've been in a 674-day training camp, haven't you?" Like as a way to explain why he was so ready. He's been hurt. The poor guy was hurt. In all fairness to Francis, that was anything but the best Francis. And you know what he did so well from a physical standpoint? He didn't buy on flinches. Francis commanded that ring like the champion. Francis walked him down. Then he actually showed finesse. He showed technique. I mean, the heart of the condition, we've only seen heart out of Francis one other time. That's not a knock on Francis. He's just been so far above everybody, he hasn't had to show heart. He showed heart one time, and that was coming back in the championship rounds against Ciryl Gane and flipping the script even stylistically and turning it into wrestling, which is a weapon we've never seen him do, but he's never had to dig deep. Tonight he goes out there, he's got finesse, he's walking him down, he's got his hands up at all times, he's following the basics, right? That was one tremendous thing about Francis. Guys will get into sport and they'll learn too much. They'll learn how to look cool, they'll learn how to shoulder roll, they'll learn how to turn sideways, they'll learn the Queensberry rules, then they'll learn how to fight like a Cuban fighter, then they'll learn like a British fighter, then an American fighter, right? It's one of these things. Put your hands up, hit him, don't let him hit you. That's the game. Francis did it really well, but he did not fall for the flinches. Tyson Fury flinched, Francis would be standing right there, as though those punches weren't hurting him. It was amazing. What Francis went out there and did is amazing. Francis's frustration with me on a personal level is Francis doesn't understand what we're doing here. The same people that paid Francis tonight are the same people that paid me to make the pieces on Francis that I did. He doesn't understand these things. And as great of an athletic performance and an accomplishment as this was, it's beyond infuriating that Francis would allow Usyk to get into the ring. He let Usyk's fat ass get in the ring with nothing to say. The guy gets in there with an interpreter. Usyk gets into the ring to do an interview and can't speak to anybody. Could you imagine? They bring Usyk into the ring to cut promos to build and promote a fight against Fury. He can't speak. And meanwhile, you have Francis, who just put on the competitive. This is the Globetrotters just got robbed against the '89 Lakers. The mismatched sporting event of my lifetime, which is what makes it one of the most remarkable sporting events of my lifetime. Even KSI had the sense to immediately call for a rematch. He got jobbed out. He immediately called for a rematch. Francis didn't call for a rematch at all. Not only did he not call for a rematch, he let some dude get into the ring and cut a promo in a language that nobody could understand. It's a great job by Francis. It was a great job, but it's heartbreaking for me. It is the second time I have seen the greatest boxer in the world get beat up by a guy with no experience. I come from the sport of wrestling. Mark my words, you can have 10 million YouTube followers and you can go train and you can even stick illegal substance in your ass. You are never going to get the jump on one of our heroes. Whether it's Smith, whether it's the Schultz boys, whether it's Sanderson, whether it's Burroughs, whether it's Dake, whether it's Taylor. Boxing's not a real sport. That hurts me. That hurts me to say, but there is no way to deny that.